All right, so if you have any questions regarding EIS, I will put in the link below for the slots that we are going to have about the, what do you call that, EIS per queso, which I'm going to share you on the steps and everything. You can join that session, and I'll explain a lot more about it. So that's about it. I'll pass it back to Suyasa.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you very much for sharing, Miss Tina. Again, right? Okay, so again, who is ready for Mr. Ishak Karim after this? Okay, are you ready? Hello, hello. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let me just quickly brief you about Mr. Ishak Karim before he comes online. So one of his biggest missions is actually making a difference in one's life, one person at a time, right? So he has been doing career coaching for a very long time, and he has done a lot of one-to-one sessions with people, right? You can actually book a session with him later on. You can actually find him through LinkedIn, or if you don't have his contact, you can always reach us, and then we will connect you with him. He's actually been in the semiconductor industry 25 years, right? And also a social entrepreneur by night, starting from the humble beginnings in Felda. You can read a lot about his stories, about his beginnings, about even his family life, finance, through his LinkedIn profile, right? He graduated with a bachelor's and then went on to the master's from the George Washington University in US. He was also appointed as Board of Studies and Industrial Advisor in IIUM since 2007. Okay, his presence in LinkedIn as a career coach is with the mission to help students, fresh graduates, and young professionals to unleash their full potential in reaching their career goals and peaks. Okay, he does resume reviews, interview preparation. He does it through face-to-face or online one-to-one coaching or group career advice. He does a lot of talks for universities and schools, right? So again, look out for him, Ishak Karim, in LinkedIn. All right. So with that, I wouldn't waste too much time. I will invite Mr. Ishak Karim online to start sharing. All right. Okay. So
Okay, yes,
Ishak, over
thank
to
you
you.
very much. Thank you for having me. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone. Salam Ramadan, Ramadan Karim to everyone. Today I don't mean to have a lecture because I'm not here to be a lecturer. I've never been a lecturer anyway. Just want to share some information that I have from my experience and from my readings as far as the job hunting. And I would expect you to have a lot of questions, and then I would rather focus on answering your questions rather than me talking too much here. I prepared some presentation material. It's not a presentation per se. It's more like sharing. Then you are welcome to stop me if you want to ask questions, or you can wait to the end as well. So it's either way, it's fine. Okay, so let me share. Um, Let me share my screen. Okay. Let me know when you see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so as Vyasa explained a little bit, this is pretty much my history. It's already explained anyway, but it's part of the slide. Can we show it anyway? Yeah, this is my right hand man, and then my youngest one right here, and this is my wife and my daughter. Okay, so it's been since 1996. I've been in semiconductor industries, and then I kind of retired starting end of December. So this is my profile in LinkedIn. If you want to look at it, and just search my name, Ishak Karim. This is my activity is already mentioned earlier. As of yesterday, I have 25.6K followers and then 22.8 connections. You're welcome to follow me, and then if you're not connected, let's get connected, and then you're gonna be happy with the posts that I share in the LinkedIn on the daily basis, sometimes twice a day, once a day, and then I'm actively comment on somebody else's post as well to share my inputs on the topic that is related to employment, job seeking, and also a little bit of finance sometimes. Okay, so job hunting. It's called hunting for a reason. You know, back in the 20s, what you see in the picture. This is a picture in Malaysia back in the 20s. It was easier to get a tiger back then. Yeah, it's everywhere. But now you can see how difficult it is. Even you are not allowed to hunt. I had a chance when I was young boy. Had a chance to live with my late brother-in-law, who's active hunter, and also my late grandpa is also hunter. So of course, I did not have a chance to really follow them to hunt for tiger, but just a small wild animal, then it's quite normal. So that's why we call it hunting for a reason nowadays, because it's not that easy to get. Yeah, and then you have to know where it is, and then you really have to really know what it is, and then sometimes you have to go there a couple times, and then until you really get a chance to shoot. Of course, nowadays hunting is illegal in Malaysia, and it's not allowed anymore. Back then, almost, I think, for those who rela, who lives in the kampong. I grew up in the kampong, and then the rela have a rifle, have a gun, and then of course, obviously, they don't hunt anybody else, but they go and hunt for wild animal. Okay, so if you look at the current trend for the unemployment trend, right now, as of February, we have close to 800,000 people unemployed, which is about 4.8%. If you look at the trend for the last couple months, 4 months, or even 7 months since October, if you look at since October, it's just floating around 4.8%. That means you look at from the forecasters, it looks like it's gonna stay at that level for a little bit longer. If you look at it, if you compare to the before COVID, let's say in March, COVID started in March, somewhere there, and they start to shoot up. And then before that, in February, it's in a range of 3% or so. So that would be what we expect. And then now we have a lot more than what we can handle. And the job is not much. And then we are churning graduates, especially the fresh graduate coming up in the range of, depending on which statistic that you look at, in the range of between 300,000 to 400,000 every year. So that adds up into this statistics, and the job creation is quite slow right now, and only the best can do it. So hopefully after this session, you're gonna have some idea on what to do, and then for the job hunting activities. Yeah. Okay, so just a little bit more on the statistics. Being a statistician in my previous life, statistics is very close to me. I like to see these numbers, or not these kind of numbers, but I like to see numbers. If you look at these statistics, this one are coming from a Glassdoor back in 2016, I think 2018 kind of statistics, maybe earlier. I cannot get the exact date when it was done, but if you look at this for the corporate job openings, out of 250 resumes sent out, only 4 of them got invited for interviews, and then 1 of them get an offer. That means from a statistic point of view, if you're sending a 200, if you're expecting to have one offer, at least 1 offer, you have to apply 250 jobs or 250 applications. This is not talking about random applications. It's talking about the credible applications. I mean, applications that really you fit for the job, and then you really think that you will really, have some level of fitness to the job. It's not, very random or any job there is out there. So if you are saying that, hey, I've been applying for 50 jobs, haven't got anything. I mean, from these statistics, obviously, yes, I'm not surprised because your art is 1 out of 250. So you really have to go up to 250 or even go to 300 or 400 if you want to have a better chance to have an offer for 1 or 2 offers so that you can choose. Okay, so that is the situation right now, unfortunately. Okay, so the next one is going to be, I'm going to give you a step. It's not really a step, a strategy. It's roughly about 10 of them, and then how to move forward. I will spend a little bit more time on this because this is what we want to talk about today. Yes, if you have a chance, and later on we look at the resume and look at the interview a bit. But for today, I'm focusing on this job hunting strategy. This strategy is not really new. It's not something that I created. It's just based on experience, based on readings, based on my own experience and my client's experience. So this is what the thing that I can come up with. From dealing with the clients for the past so many years, one thing that I see that is really the very first problem, that's why I put it on the first. The very first problem is to know yourself. If you're judging from your resume and then judging from the resume that I reviewed, and it looks like you yourself don't know yourself very well. If you were a product, for example, you are a cell phone, but if you don't know what that cell phone can do, what features the cell phone has, and then you are selling it out there without telling everybody what that phone is good for, nobody's going to buy that phone, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely nobody's going to buy that phone. So really, you have to really sit down and reflect yourself. I don't know, lock yourself in the room or go somewhere quiet and try to figure out what do you have to offer. What I speak figuratively. If you come to my sessions, I will flip you upside down and hold it by the ankle and then shake you out and see what's come out. So this is basically what you have to do to really get what can you sell. Don't underestimate. You have a lot to sell, but since you're not selling it well enough, therefore nobody's buying. So that goes with your interests, your skill, your accomplishments, your experience, your values, and then also your goal in life. What exactly do you want career-wise moving forward from now, next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Yeah, these questions some people, it may sound stupid, but if you know what you want, you know what you're looking for, then it's easier to tune towards what you're looking for. That goes to the point number 2, where you aim for the right target. The same like the story of the hunting. Just that's why I showed the story, the picture of the tiger. That if you don't know where the tiger is, there's no chance for you to go out there and get tiger. you may get a mouse deer probably, or you may get some different kind of animal. But if you're aiming for a tiger, you should know where the tiger is. Then you go really close range and then look at, you see the tiger and you shoot. Yeah. So this is the aim for the right target if you really want to go for that. Then this has to match with your career choice. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Many of you, especially those students, they don't really think about it. They only think about it when they are looking for a job. Even so, they don't know anything about what's, how bad or how good or how difficult it is out there. So you have to spend the time and learn about industries and learn about those companies. The other mistake, the common mistake is you only focus on the big companies. Let's say for oil and gas, you always think about Petronas, things about Shells, things about those big oil companies. But if you look at the structure itself of the oil and gas, the same goes with semiconductors. If you look for the big companies, they normally have a very tight requirements, tough requirements. If you don't fit that requirements, then you cannot get that job. That does not mean you cannot work in semiconductor. You still can, but you have to know who else are the players. The same with oil and gas. If you cannot get to work in Petronas and then Shell, then where else can you go? There's a tons of other companies that is supporting these big companies as a contractors or as a workers. You can go there first, probably. Then when you get to know these big names and then you will have enough experience, then you can get back to the big names that you're looking for. The same goes with any other industries. There's not just the main players, there are also supporters that support, and then also they call it tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, that if you're in accounting, for example, you don't just target finance, you don't just target big fours. You have a lot of other companies that you can work with to gain the knowledge and then to establish your brand, and then later on, then you can always come back. By then, your CGPA may not matter anymore, your experiences, and then there's a lot of leeway for you to make it happen if you cannot make it now. But if you keep banging yourself and then keep trying to apply for that particular job on the same companies, and you've been rejected over and over. So what is your out then? It's if it's nothing changed between the first applications to the 30th applications, and then the answer is going to be still no. Unless there's something big different between then and now that really give you a chance to get there. I would rather focus on doing something different and go for different companies, for example. There you can develop your skill rather than wait at home and do nothing. Okay, and then you have to be assertive and then proactive. Assertive doesn't mean aggressive. That's different. That means assertive here, you really have to go out. You really to go out and then look for it, find the vacancies. It's not just in this kind of environment, especially today. By the time you know the vacancies in the job portal, it's already too late. Everybody has applied. So you have to have a different ways of going to get to know as soon as the vacancy is created at the office level, at the department level. Then if you do that, if you know that, then you could be the first to apply. And then normally, statistically, for those who apply the first, if you fit into the bill, and most likely you have a chance to get called for interview at least. And then, of course, then after that depends on the interview performance. And normally this is how the company works. When you apply for a job, and then the first few, if they already make up their mind to see that the first few is the one that fit into the job, and then they probably just stop looking, and then just focus on the one that they already have in hand. That goes faster. But you can imagine if you wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, most probably they don't close the job yet, obviously, because they have not made the decision, but they're already shortlisted who are they going to be interviewing. Yeah, in general case. It's not always the case, but in general. Some people say cold calling is if you're not into marketing or you're not into telemarketing, probably cold calling is not your thing. But it comes to the point where you really have to do it. Why not? Just call the company. Yeah, maybe the company have vacancies, but they just cannot afford to pay because any way they want to put advertisement out there, they have to pay the job portal. They have to pay the printed magazine. I don't know whether now anybody advertise in newspapers anymore. It's very less, but they still have to pay. But they don't want to spend that money, and then they don't want to hire recruiters either. Therefore, they just let the colleagues or let the current employee or their relatives to find out. So this is something that you have to be in the loop to get to know these kind of vacancies. Then you do the right investigations, get to know the vacancy before anyone else. This tied to the point before that, where let's say, for example, from the people inside the company. For the smaller company, if there's any vacancies, even the big companies, they have the internal. MNC like to do the internal opening before they go out. So these people know that there's a vacancy first before they advertise to outside. So if you have a connections inside, you have somebody that you know within the company of your interests, most probably you're going to get that information. And then you really have to work with your network, because people say your network is your net worth. This is where the LinkedIn comes in, and then you have a lot of people in your network. This is where your information comes in. If there's any vacancies, if there's any opening anywhere, this is where it comes in. You within your network, within your WhatsApp groups, for example, on the Telegram groups. This is a time at which I think we have to revolutionize a bit of this WhatsApp group or this media social group. So you focus on the group that give you values. Yeah, it's not in the group that keep chit-chatting the same thing over and over for 2 years. That doesn't help you. Okay, so get to know these people, get to know who can be benefits to you. You can be a little bit selfish. If you can look at your current network, do the housekeeping a bit, and then see whether spending time with these people, does it help? And then for now, you don't need it. Maybe you need to have your own new network, fresh network that who can help you getting where you want to go. Here, we're not talking about cable in the traditional sense. Yeah, we're talking about real network, not those cable. Not people are sarcastically saying, how big is your cable? So this is something else. I'm not a big fan of that cable either. Yeah, if you can have you fit into the requirements, and then you need this little push from inside, a little push from your network to at least to get you to the interview. And then if you're doing it by yourself, you're doing it alone, you have nobody to help, and then it comes to the point that you are reaching the dead end, you are facing the wall, you cannot move further, and then you get help. Yeah, you get help, like consult or career coaches like me or a lot of other friends in LinkedIn who's doing it. Or if you're an experienced employees, yeah, you can get in touch with recruiters. Recruiters are more than happy to help you if you fit the bill, because they're making money out of it. For fresh graduates and students, normally the recruiters do not work for you, except I just learned recently that if you are a very good student, very good fresh graduate that has a very high placement ability, they can place you even with that, then you still can get it from the recruiters, especially on the big companies. They don't have time to do their own recruitment. They outsource it to the recruiters. So you may get in touch with these recruiters, but just be careful that recruiters charge money. Recruiters get money from the company, not from the candidates. If the recruiters start to to ask for money, then it's wrong. Yeah. But of course, career coaches and career consultants, they make money out of it, and they charge you for resume writing, for preparing, all the service that is related to your job through career coaches is chargeable, but not through recruiters. Recruiters make money out of from the hiring company. Career coaches don't. And then people keep on talking about this, be temporarily flexible. The key word here is temporary. If you, just to, to keep it going, and then you just take any available jobs. But that does not mean you take anything. Yeah, you are smart enough, you went to school, you're smart enough, you have a powerful brain to decide what kind of job that you can take. Of course, don't write back in LinkedIn saying, since this old guy advised you to take any jobs, and you just get into any job, then you got miserable, then you're crying every day. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you just take anything that you're comfortable with for now. With your degree, let's say, for example, you are coming from engineering, you try to get an engineering job, you cannot get, then you get a sales job, for example. It may not pay as much, but at least you have a job. Yeah. Don't go for the, I'm not saying you go to a fast food restaurant or work in this kind of industry, nothing against them, but if you are graduates, then you can do better than that. So it's better than waiting for your dream job. If you do nothing, then you not only you lose time, but also you lose the opportunity, because you're not growing. It's easier to get a job while you're working. Yeah, it's much easier to get a job while you're working, regardless what you do, regardless what your current job is. But if you're not working, then you are on the losing side. They can play out with your salary with you, but if you're working and say, hey, I'm working right now, if they try to lowball you, then you can reject it because you are working. But if you're not, then you are on the advantage side. So working, you can take anything there is out there, focus on your transferable skills. If you're working with a non-related industry that of your dream job, then you still can develop your transferable skills. You can still can develop your soft skill in any job that you do. Provided that you are really sensitive, you are really focused to developing those skills rather than just making money. And then you really have to say clearly in your CV and a cover letter why you fit that job, why you think that this job should be yours. That goes into your CV, and then CV is more general, and your cover letter is more specific for that job. You really have to say it, to bring it, to say it clearly why you think you fit for that job. It's not copying cover letter from somebody else or copying cover letter from internet. It's just that cover letter is represent you, and CV is also represent you. You can imagine that if you go and buy Honda, you get this brochure from Honda, but everything else is from Toyota. So that doesn't fit. Your CV represent your brand, represent Honda, therefore it talks about Honda. And then the cover letter is much detailed, specifically highlight your skills and knowledge that fits into that job. Then you have to really, as I said, just say clearly. It's not in very general, generic sense, but specifically for that particular position, state clearly why you think you fit to that job. Because these are the only two medium for you to talk to the hiring manager before you face that person, before you see them, him or her face to face. This is the only medium that you have. And then this is something that very people rarely do, including myself. I don't do it myself either. Keep careful records of your, I've seen a few of you share in the LinkedIn that you keep records of this, which is a good thing. You keep records of all the job that you apply, the companies that you apply, and then the status of the companies that you go for interview, when you go for interview, and you write down what your interview experience probably, or you can write down what are the questions they ask. And then this is not only good for the current job that you're looking for, and then later on, if you want to quit from your current job, because nowadays everybody, want to make more money, and then you can stay 1-2 years, then you go and look for a new job immediately. Therefore, you do this job once, because if you already have a job, then you want to look for another job. You may not have the luxury of time to do it as you are unemployed right now. You have all the time, because job hunting itself is a full-time job by itself. If you're not doing a full-time job looking for a job, then how can you cover 200 and 250 jobs to get this one opportunity? It is a full-time job, and then might as well, document what you do. Just a simple step further, you just document what you do. That will be your reference later on in the future, moving forward for the next 5-6 years, or even 10 years, because you already have the records of everything that the company or the potential company that you can venture into. Then you can just develop or update the knowledge as you go along later on. Yeah. And then the last one is be persistent and never give up and keep hustling. This is something that, yes, hunting is not easy. Hunting is difficult. But if you come to the point there, probably you're not, if you come to the point that if you don't get anything that you hunt, there's no food on the table for that particular day, then you're going to be very persistent. Yeah, rejection is normal. Yeah, people talk bad about you is normal. That's part of life, part of it. But that shouldn't, that shouldn't demotivate you. That should be the other way around. It should motivate you further so that you can get out of that misery faster. So never give up, and then keep applying, and keep, get help if you need to be. If you cannot do it by yourself, you need to get help. From somebody, at least not somebody to help you to get a job, or somebody just to talk to. Yeah, you never lock yourself alone in the room and be alone everywhere you go, unless you are really that kind of person who can handle it. If you are kind of social kind of person, but especially in this time that you don't have a chance to talk to anybody, to meet anybody. And then just keep that, so that keep your motivation up, and then so that you have enough energy, and then you have clarity, because this is important. Yeah, this is important, especially when you come to interview. If you get a chance to be invited for the interview, if you come with a long face, you come with not so confidence, you come with the a lot of question mark in your face, has a miserable life, and then you tell you don't tell verbally, but from your facial expressions, and the hiring manager knows that you're in trouble. That's not a good sign. Yeah. And then how do you convince the hiring manager that you're going to take the job while not in the stable state emotionally and physically? So stay positive and keep hustling, because you have no choice really. Yeah, you really have to go for it. If you don't do that, you don't get it. So there's no choice. You really have to do it. Okay. So this is a little bit as a continuation, because when I'm preparing this slide, and then I prepare the other slide. So basically just sometimes it duplicates information, but that's fine. You can do door-to-door applications. This one is simple. You drive to the door, to the place that you want to go, and then the company that you want to go, and just drop the applications. Or if you want to talk to HR, then you can hand deliver the applications. And then job portal, everybody knows, and social media, and then online presence, which is a LinkedIn or some other social media out there that has that offer the job. You can go and apply. And then also you have to make yourself visible, which is your online presence. In LinkedIn, for example, make yourself visible. Otherwise, people don't know that you're looking for a job. Yeah. And then let's say we mentioned earlier that we're using cable and networks. This is the most effective way, I would say, right now, especially in this era. This is the most effective way compared to the rest. And if you really have to look at an approach side, and then you perfect match by degree and industry. That means you really have to match the degree, especially when you're doing. Your challenge will be if you're doing something generic. Yeah, if the engineering, finance or accounting, for example, that way it's very specific. You know where you're going. Even within engineering themselves is you should know where can you go, when can you apply. So this is the matching is very important. In general for engineering, if you have engineering degree, then you can work in any engineering field. If you look at your syllabus, I don't know now, yeah, syllabus during my time, the first 2 years, the first 3 years, every engineering student goes through the same thing. Only the final year or 1.5 years, then they start to specialize. Technically, you should be able to work in any engineering field, regardless of your engineering background. But for the other generic social science, for example, social science is quite broad, and then even art is also quite broad. And then you really have to where can you position yourself in the industry. You really have to understand. Do I miss anything? Okay, so you really have to stay in the industry, get to know your industry very well, and then see how can you maneuver into your industry. Say, for example, you want to work in semiconductor. What are the roles? What are the roles and responsibility, or what are the functions within semiconductor itself? And then from there, you can see where can you fit. Yeah, you have to get that information. Therefore, it's easier for you to prepare yourself. It's easier for you to write your cover letter and write your resume to fit it. And then the question always comes: MNCs or SMEs, or startup or SMEs, startup or established as MNCs. There is no definite answer. There's no definite answer. It depends on your personality. It depends on your personality. That's why I would suggest you go and then take the online personality tests, and then you can see where you can fit. There's a lot of free personalities tests out there that you can take. MNCs is a debate. SMEs, MNCs, it still depends on what your interests, what you want to do, what's your career plan. And then, of course, your mentality between these two have to be different. You cannot compare. Let's say you and SMEs, and you compare for your friend or your classmate in MNCs. The career path, the career movement, the career progression is different between these two. So therefore, and then of course the pay scale is also different. And then from the companies itself, and then you should know what group it is, and then by functions of the company. You really study in detail of the company, especially the smaller companies. The smaller companies, they may not reveal so much information out there in the social media or in their website. So you're not quite sure what exactly they're doing. And then you really have to learn, and then to figure out, it is the best thing to figure out this is to get connected to the people inside the company. And then I'm sure everyone is very helpful, especially people in LinkedIn. They are very helpful. If you ask questions, there's no problem. They're gonna answer you. They're gonna reply you if you ask in the public. Even if they're not not sure to answer in the public, they're gonna answer you in the private. So get help to get all of this information that you want. Okay. So this is, as I said earlier, is about 80% of open position are filled through networking. Yeah. So this is a good thing because, say for example, in one company, if somebody bringing the friend of the existing, let's say you are the existing employee, and you know there's a vacancy, then you're gonna bring your friend. The management likes this because if you bring somebody that you know, you bring your friend, and then there will be a likely that you can work together. There's no issue between the employees. And then second, and then the management sees that you or the introducer or the existing employee must have done some screening. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense if somebody brings, the unqualified or bad workers in, regardless whether they're a friend or not, because that doesn't help the team. So this help. At the very least, this one gives you a chance to go for interview. And then during the interview, if you cannot perform during the interview, that's something else. But the challenge for almost everybody is not to pass the interviews. It's more like to get invited for the interviews. So that is the challenge. If you don't have a chance, not invited to get a slot in an interview, then there's no chance that you're going to showcase what you can offer. So this can be realized through networking. But of course, you have to establish this network up front. Yeah, you cannot expect you get to know me, and then a few seconds later, as soon as I click accept, and then you start writing, hey sir, do you have a job? Or can you help me to find a job? It doesn't work like that. You're networking, and then connections have to be established, have to be nurtured for a long time until we have established this trust, or we know each other well enough to recommend. Okay, so when you say networking, it does not mean you're networking just within the LinkedIn community, for example. Yeah, so your networking can be your friends, can be your colleagues, can be a community near you, can be within your family, and then if you're students, then within your professors. So these are all the resources that you have to get a job. Yeah, don't be shy. Use them. Especially, this is something that I find, especially for the students. Every time I ask during one-on-one, I say, do you have a connection with your seniors? And then they say no. I think, to me, that's a pity. You should be still connected with your seniors. The older your senior, the better, because normally these older seniors will have it. Most likely they will be on the decision-making position where they can hire and fire. Therefore, if you know these guys, and then you are likely to be given the recommendation if he or she is not hiring, and the second, at least you have a chance to for the interview. So if you don't have this, and then you by yourself, and then it's a little bit challenging. But if you do have this, especially when you are not really that good, yeah, you're not bad, but you're not good. The good one is easy. I think if you ask the good ones about this kind of strategy, this kind of thing, to them, they say, yeah, I don't have to do anything. I just apply, and then I just get a job. Yeah. So if you that's the easy one. For those who are not that lucky, and then for those who have some kind of for the lack of a better term, some handicap, but this is something that we need this support from everybody. Yeah, so start establishing your network now, and then if not for the next job, but it's going to be for the next job that you are applying for. So these people will come handy, then they will going to help you. Okay, so this is the job portal from not from employee perspective, but from employer perspective. Yeah, have a look and take a look in there, and then what they have to offer. You're familiar with JobStreet, you're familiar with LinkedIn. So the rest is Indeed, you're familiar with Indeed as well. And then you just go in, then everyone has his own target, target candidates, target employee, and then this is something that you can go in and then take a look what they have to offer. And another note on the LinkedIn, I don't have a slide, but just came to just remember on the LinkedIn, there's two sections that you can get. You can look for a job, one on the job site itself, second on the feed. For the job site, normally for the people have to pay, and the one job feed is not, and then you most likely you will see a lot more in the in your feed rather than in your job section. And then now even say, if you look at even the job section now is growing as well. For the past couple of weeks, I've been checking out this job section, and I've seen a lot more of the vacancies coming. So you can look at there. And then also, especially for fresh graduate, normally the vacancy for fresh graduate is not really that much in any job portal nowadays, because the hiring company don't want to pay money to this portal just to hire fresh graduate, because they can get fresh graduate very easily. They don't need to invest the money for that. Therefore, some of them will use this feed to advertise if they don't know any, if they don't have any inventory, so-called quote unquote, of the fresh graduate. So they open up there. Okay, so that is the end of my presentation for job hunting. Open for question. It's awfully very quiet, I think, probably because it's been muted or what. I did not look at chat. So any question?
Ishak, there's a question from Wong Xiong Hui. Okay.
Yeah.
If my degree is Bachelor of Electronic Engineering and take microelectronic as my major when I'm 4th year.
Okay.
Right? May I know, do I need to mention my major in the resume? If yes, does it affect my application when I apply the job in other electronic field?
For the fresh graduate, normally we don't pay that much attention on your major, but it's good to have your major there. Therefore, we can see whether you fit into the job. But actually, if you meet the CGPA, then you cover all the courses that there is, then you should not be worried about that, because the idea of the semiconductor industry or electronic industry, there's two different industries, yeah. The electronic industry and semiconductor industry are two different industries. Then they do not cross each other. They're totally different. So if you on the microelectronics, most likely you fit into the semiconductors rather than the consumer side. Yeah, consumer side, I mean TV, radio, aircon, all those, refrigerator. But if you come to semiconductor side, then you are into the microelectronics level. In the microelectronic level, the problem is with semiconductor industry in general. There's not many universities out there that really doing semiconductors. Yeah, really cater for semiconductor market. Therefore, semiconductor is struggling to hire fresh graduate. Many of them don't hire fresh graduate. Even if they do, they have their own programs. They call it training programs that you have to go through about 6 months to 1 year. To prepare you to get into that job. Therefore, it does not affect you so much if you meet the main requirements, yeah, based electronic. But it's good to have that you measure if your major appears in your scroll. Yeah, if it doesn't appear in your scroll, then this is the word of cautious, that when you put your degree in your resume, please use exactly what it appears in your scroll. I use the word scroll because in US we call it diploma. Diploma, then you mean something else. But scroll is the degree itself, yeah, the paper. So it has to be like that, exactly. Else, you cannot prove that you have a degree. Then your degree does not match with the resume. Then it's kind of misleading there. Some people just say, "Oh, I have a degree of mechanical engineering," but in the degree it says Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, and then in the bracket honors, and then some other names. Therefore, it doesn't fit. Yeah?
Okay, there's another question. Thank you for your answer, Ishak. From Laila Sabiha. Okay, the question is, I'm doing a master's degree, still ongoing. Okay, do I have to mention it? Because some employers refuse to take master's degree student, even though I'm doing it as a part-time. By the way, I have 4 years working experience. From Laila. Thank you for your question, Laila.
Okay, so as far as education goes, you have to tell the truth. Yeah, you really have to tell the truth. But as of now, if you still pursuing your degree, your master's, your last degree is still bachelor's. Yeah, you can put your master's, and then you put the expected graduation date, whenever that may be. And then as of today, you are hired based on your degree, because you don't have master's yet.
Okay, Laila, I hope the question,
Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Whether or not to put in the resume, yes, and then put the expected date when, and then but that not the deciding factor for you whether to get a job or not. You're still being paid based on your 4-year experience plus degree, not with your master's. Master's doesn't add any value anyway. Yeah, some company give you maybe 50 ringgit more or 100 ringgit more, but don't expect, you say if you have master's, then you expect your salary will go up by 20% or 30%. Doesn't work like that. Master does not add any value to the salary.
Okay, so another question is, what if you already have in mind a few companies you want to get into, but from your statistics you show earlier, one job per 250 applications? How do I do this if I'm only applying to, let's say, 5 companies? Okay, so that's the first question. The second question is, on the 85% job filled by networking, how did you network when you are a young professional? Okay, great questions, Em.
Okay, so the first question is, what was it? Sorry, the first question was.
Shall I repeat it? Isha?
Yes, please.
Okay, the first question is, when you have in mind a few companies that you want to get into.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you, let's say for example, you have a few companies. Let's say you don't want to work anybody else. You are semiconductor. Let's say semiconductor, because I'm from semiconductor. I want to give semiconductor example. You can apply an example. You want to work with Intel, AMD, and Micron. Only these 3. Yeah, let's say you don't want to work anywhere else for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe you know the culture of this company, and then the thing is, if you fit for that job, there's no problem. But if you don't fit for that job, don't spam them. Yeah, if you spam them, that means you keep applying like 20 applications per day, and then I don't think they're gonna ban you, but they just ignore you. Yeah, and then later on they already because you are so frequent appears in their applications, and then they say they mark you. They say, no, this guy, I don't want to hire this guy. Yeah. So if you're really that sure that you are only one for that particular company, then you will also have to that sure that you fit into their requirements. If you don't fit, then no matter how many times that you apply, then there's no chance. No chance. Yeah. So from that point of view, if you really fit into that job, yeah. Of course, fit in the sense of you fit, but but your competitor is better, therefore you don't get a job. Yeah. But you really have to be fit and also the best candidate. How do you know you're the best candidate? Yeah, you have to be the best of yourself, the best version of yourself. Of course, you cannot help to compete with somebody else. Yeah. And the second question is?
The second question is, on the 85% jobs filled up by networking.
Okay, how do you network as the youngsters? I've seen a lot of successful youngsters who are networking, either physically or virtually. Of course, if you at work, for example, if you at work, you are a young professional, you talk to your people, you talk to your colleagues in your department, you talk to your managers across departments, you talk to your MD, you talk to high-level management, or you talk to somebody else on the other company if you know, or you talk to your neighbors, you attend meetings. This is something that you have to be proactively go out and meet people. Of course, don't annoy everybody. That's what networking is all about, is get to know them. And then there's a lot of youngsters that if you do this, then as soon as they have vacancies, they remember you. Especially they know that you're looking for a job. As soon as they have vacancy, they know your background, they know how good you are in your career, they know who you are, your personality and everything. And then you don't have to apply. Even if you're doing virtually, in LinkedIn, for example, they know you, and then they're gonna approach you. For fresh graduate, normally is quite challenging because recruiters don't approach fresh graduate. But if you're young professional, and then recruiters will approach you. Yeah, if they know you well, so you are really visible out there. And then of course you have to be proactively looking for to get connected with these people, not just connected in terms of connections, pure connections, but also there's a interactions, a link. Really have to meet that guy. I remember I got a few when I was in Malacca. I got a few of them, of the youngsters that want to meet me every now and then, every couple of weeks, and then invited me for lunch, for dinner, just to get to know me. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Of course, not now, but when I was in Malacca, because I was staying alone, I don't have anybody else to talk to. That's good. But I'm okay if somebody wants to say, hey, or what you can do is even virtually, you can say, you want to talk to Vyasa and say, Vyasa, can we have half an hour? I'm just using his as an example, whether he agrees or not, that's a different story. Can I have your 1 hour, 50 minutes of your time, 30 minutes every time I want to talk to you about something? Then sure, you can book the time, and now we can do a Google Meet anytime or Zoom Meet anytime. Then why not? That you can do that. Just to get to know each other, Of course, you don't have to go to Mama. You just do it through virtual. That's also, you can do that. Okay.
All right.
I hope I answered the question.
Thanks, Ishak. Okay, another question from Rizwan Bashir. Okay. Hi, I have 14 years of experience in IT. I have been supporting the niche skill like IBM, Tivoli, monitoring.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's no available job for this kind of skills at the moment. What job skill should I go for if I'm not able to find any niche skill job offer? All right. So this is the first question by Rizwan Bashir. And then Farhana Yassin is also asked a similar question, right? Let me just read Farhana's question also.
Yeah.
As what Mr. Ishak said, it's important to have network or cable, especially in this pandemic. But what if our network or cable doesn't reciprocate? All right. What I mean is, I'm still in touch with my seniors from internship company. I have a few cable and network, and I did approach all of them, but all they said is, you will keep in touch. All right. But until no news lah. So how do I solve this issue? Because she is from the oil and gas sector, which is quite badly hit right now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So similar to Rizwan Bashir's question earlier.
Okay, so for the first question, you are in a niche market, but the niche is no longer there, right? It's not available. What are the transferable skills that you can port over to the new venture? You have to get out of it and then do a new venture, whatever that may be. And then what is the next closest thing for you that you have the transferable skills, but the technical part of it you can learn. You can always relearn. You can always retrain yourself. Yeah. So so either to retrain, either it depends whether you need separate certifications or you do a separate knowledge. But the way you package yourself, especially you have 14 years of experience, how do you package yourself in terms of transferable skills that you get into or management, for example? If you're going into management skill, I'm assuming you are technical skill probably. If you're going to the management skill, then the technical skill become less, but you had that experience, but you may not be doing hands-on anymore because you are doing more into the management side. Of course, you still can provide consultation or anything, but I would focus on what else that can you sell in terms of transferable skill that applicable to the new venture that you want to get into. I do not believe that you are in a niche market, you're totally isolated together altogether. You still can pivot into the new venture, but what can you pluck out of your experience, then you can rebrand it or repackage it and then resell it. Yeah. Then for the second questions, it depends. It depends on the person that you're dealing with, and also it depends on what was your reputation. Yeah. What is your reputation among these people? If you have a very good reputation, which is I'm assuming it is, and then should something happens, and then they will recommend you to the company. But right now, as I said, the oil and gas is really badly hit. They maybe honestly that they do not have any vacancies, unless you know for sure that they say, hey, I do have vacancies, but I propose you, but my manager doesn't want to take you because of whatever reason. That one is different story. That one is purely qualification based. It's not the network based. So it doesn't mean that you going through network, then you can convert immediately. I have a tons of my network as well, but if most of the time they say, oh, you are overqualified and then you are expensive, that one is not much I can do. Yeah, it's not because my network is not effective. My network is effective. Just I cannot get into that. And then for you have to understand why is that the case, and then how can you refresh your network or reestablish your network. So that you can find the network that works for you, because network is not static, it's dynamic. You keep building it, especially at that current moment. Then something that you're looking for, and then you need the help from these people immediately. Therefore, you focus to building the community or building the network within the area of interest or the immediate interest or immediate needs that you have. Yeah, it doesn't convert all the time, but it's keep building.
Okay. So next question is, I work as a shift engineer at a semiconductor company. This is from Mohammad Faiz Rahim.
Okay.
The process is, as he mentioned, back grind and back metal process.
Okay.
Right. So not much experience that I got, except for a lot of disposition and monitor machine performance.
Yes.
Okay. If I want to apply for a new job at another semiconductor company, do I need to include my previous job in my resume?
Okay, so so going back to the back grinding topic, yeah, I think it has to do with the mismatch between your expectations and then the actual work on the ground. So basically, as a youngsters, I would assume you are very young in the industry. Wherever you go, that is exactly what you're going to be doing. any industry, any semiconductor company that you go, that basically the thing that you're going to be doing for a couple of years until you really come to the point that you understand the process itself. Then you can execute DOE. You can really design or do the process improvement activities by yourself. That is going to be later. But until then, the reason is behind why you're doing lot disposition is for you to learn what kind of problem that you have, and then how do you analyze and troubleshoot the problems. If you do that, and then you learn a lot more from that problem solving. Therefore, that is your knowledge. It's very, I would say, valuable knowledge later on if you move to a different company. In your resume, you still have to put all your experience. Yeah, it's only then whether or not you stress or you don't stress the relevancy of your roles and responsibilities. If you're still young, then obviously you have to put that. If you have a lot of experience already, if that experience is not relevant, but still you put it there in your resume just to say that you're starting working since when, and what was your first job, and what was your main responsibility. That is very very short introductions, or very short information of that particular job that you do. But again, for you, if you want to do something different, or you want to move to different semiconductor industry, you're going to be doing the same thing. Yeah, basically, it's nothing new. But what I can suggest is you talk to your mentor, or you talk to your manager and saying, "Hey, boss, I'm tired of doing this thing. Can I do something else?" And then see what happens. Of course, don't use that word. Yeah, use different words. But you really want to do something else, because if you don't tell, they don't know that you are bored with your current job. And then first, second, you have to understand the philosophy behind. Probably your boss can tell you the philosophy behind why you're doing what you're doing. And therefore, you can learn a lot more. This is what I did when I first joined semiconductor. I did a lot disposition for 4 years. Then I quit. I moved somewhere else. This is what it is. Yeah, but actually, if I were to look back with this lot disposition, I should have used that platform a lot better, because that is where the information or the knowledge is. I did not pay that much attention back then, because if I were to go back to turn my clock, I would have done it. Then I could have been a lot farther. I could have been a lot better. I hope that answered the question.
Okay. And next question is from Alia, right? After knowing about the vacancy, is it okay to reach the employee of that company through LinkedIn? Okay, if yes, to whom should we contact to the HR or specific department? Very nice question.
Yeah, so normally this is, I think LinkedIn community nowadays is quite open, and then probably I should stress a lot more on that moving forward, on then how do we have to be open. Yeah, but we also have to avoid of abusive. Yeah, don't abuse the opportunity that we need to talk to get connected to the internal company by asking tons of non-relevant questions. But for your questions, you can contact anybody. It's not a problem. Contact anybody. The best thing, if I were you, this is what I would have done. I just contact the internal employee, whoever that may be, and I say, "Do you know about this vacancy?" "Yes, I know." And then, who is the hiring manager? Can I get a contact of this hiring manager? And then you say, "Yes, you can, but I have to ask permission from the hiring manager first," which is as normally do. You cannot simply give the contact without permission. Then if the hiring manager says yes, because I'm sure if you fit for the job, the hiring manager will be more than happy to talk to you. Unless if you don't fit, then probably he or she will ignore you. But if you fit for the job, and then you just go straight. The best is not to HR, but the best is to the hiring manager. Always look for who is the hiring manager. Of course, then if your friend does not know who is the hiring manager, and then he or she can refer to HR. "Hey, I hear this position in our website. that who is the hiring manager? Can you tell me? I always do that with my HR. And they say, yeah, so and so. Then I contact so and so, and then just start from there. So if you have access to the hiring manager, that's the best accessibility that you have. Your chance to showcase.
Okay, so that's a good answer actually. Good question, Alia. Next one is Sarah. From Sarah, I graduated in the year of 2019 as a petroleum engineer. Unfortunately, the following year being affected by pandemic, and I could not secure a job in the ONG industry, oil and gas. Then after some hardship, I managed to secure one in automotive industry with a bond of 2 years. Now the oil and gas industry is picking up. I just want to get some advice whether I should start to find my dream job in the oil and gas industry now, or wait for my bond to end with the current company and then gain some experience. Wait for my bond to end with the current company and gain some experience.
It depends on how do you manage this bond. How much is this bond and how do you manage this bond? And then you have to look at the clause of the bond. I did that once. I still have a bond. My bond was on performance bonus because they give me performance bonus, retention bonus. They give me retention bonus and I have to stay for 2 years. And then at that time, I got another job. I really wanted to leave and I got another job. And then I negotiated with the receiving company of saying, hey, I have this bond. Can you take care of it? And then I was so lucky that they say, yes, we'll take care of it. And then off you go, you come with us. So the same thing with you. If you go to the oil and gas company, then how do you manage this bond? Can you take somebody else? Either options, either you ask the company that you're going into to take care of it, or you still serve the bonds, but by paying the company, or how should I say, your future oil and gas company will pay this automotive company upfront, lump sum, and then you pay your automotive company on the monthly basis for, I don't know how long that you agree. So if you don't mind doing this kind of thing, this kind of arrangement, then you are okay to look for another job and then leave that. But you have to be careful with the terms and conditions. Or if you have no choice, of course, you have to wait. But if it's booming, it's coming up, then probably 2 years, it's going to be a lot better than now. Yeah, it depends on how you manage that. How do you manage your bonds? But of course, don't just run. What would be the consequence? You have to read your term and condition in the contract.
Okay. Another question, do you think the applicant tracking system, ATS, is important in building a resume? What's your opinion on that? By Hazami.
It depends. It depends on how do you get your resume to. Yeah. First, by default, you should have your resume with the ATS compliance. That's for sure. Yeah. Even though you don't go through ATS, let's say, for example, like in case just now we talked earlier that you have access to the hiring manager directly, then you can hand deliver or you can send directly your resume to the hiring manager. That one is okay. It doesn't have to go through ATS or anything, so that your resume made it. Yeah? But if your resume is ATS compliance all the while, whichever methods that you use, your resume still gets to the hiring manager, hopefully. Yeah. Because if you go through HR, and HR filtering system will filter that. But first the ATS will filter it. If you have the resume with ATS compliance, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't. You shouldn't have the ATS compliance because most of them just decorative and then graphics that is not relevant anyway. Why not? Then if you apply online, in any MNC, if you apply online, it's very likely that they're using the ATS in screening your resume. So to be on the safe side, have your ATS resume compliance.
Okay. And question by Noor Sophia, what is your advice for someone who has been unemployed for 4 to 6 months? Is it better to be straightforward or need to come up with reasonable excuses for not being employed for 4 to 6 months?
Right now, if you're not employed for 6 months or 8 months up to a year, it's understandable. It's a COVID situation, yeah. But of course, you have to look at your background as well. Is that reason you don't get a job is really because of the pandemic? Really because the job is not out there, or really because there's something is not right with your resume, something is not right with your qualification, maybe, yeah. So I think within the year it's still okay if you have gap, especially during this period. But if you have more than that, I have candidates that come to me and saying I've been jobless for 2 years. And then by looking at this profile, then obviously it has some problem with the profile. It has problem with herself as well. So it's difficult to fix that. One of them requires certain certification that the candidate doesn't have. So this is something that we cannot do otherwise. Else, right now, 6 to 8 months is quite normal, I would say.
Okay, thank you. And so someone has been, by Shahira, question by Shahira, someone has been unemployed for almost a year now. Do they still, are they still considered a fresh graduate? And how do you convince an employer that you fit the job?
Yeah, there's two different questions. Your fresh
Okay.
graduate is a fresh graduate. Yeah?
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, fresh graduate from 1 year to 3 years. These are fresh graduate. Even though you're working for 2 to 3 years, still technically you're a fresh graduate. But if you don't have a job for that long, because you're fresh graduate, it goes back to the previous question. You have to understand why. Why cannot you get a job still? Is that something is really with your resume, something with during the interview performance if you get into the interview, or really your qualification doesn't fit to the job that you're applying for? Then you have to look at your job application procedure, to go back and then really analyze it, and then make an adjustment. But you are still a fresh graduate. I mean, if you have some experience somewhere else, which is doing part-time jobs, and some companies do consider that a little bit, probably 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit, I don't know, give you a little bit more money than if you're really, fresh, because you do have some transferable skill that can be used there. But technically, you are still fresh. That means any job that say require a fresh graduate are encouraged to apply, then you just go ahead. Any job that is even up to 3 years as a fresh graduate, you still can apply.
Right. Okay. Question from Nurul Hazwani. What will you advise for fresh grads which have a little low CGPA? How can they stand out with their values? Thank you.
Okay, so if you have a low CGPA, it depends on how low you are. Because I think in the range of below 3, 2.75 and above, you are still quite strong. If you have any less around 2.5, then it's quite challenging. But of course, you still have a chance. You have to find a company that don't care about CGPA. Yeah, the smaller company, for example, they don't care about CGPA. They just care about your personality and your knowledge. Because CGPA, that is hard-coded in the MNC nowadays, or SMEs somehow, GLCs, they're hard-coded there. Just simply because they want to just screen through all the applications so that they just get the best, and then they just work from the best from their perspective. It doesn't mean if those who are having a 4 flat or 3.98 is can do the job. It doesn't mean that. It still goes back to personality. It goes back to how strong the mental is. But for you have to find a job that is for the smaller companies, or company that don't care about CGPA. Then you work there for 3 years, 4 years. Then can always come back. You can always apply back, because by then your CGPA doesn't mean anything anymore. But while you're working on that temporarily, just now I'm talking about this temporary, right? this temporary job, you really have to build your credibility. You really have to build your achievement so that you have your knowledge, you have your skill, you have the achievement, you have the character that you can sell to the big companies. And then by then you're gonna back on track, and then off you go. You have no problem. You have to bear with it for a couple of years to work with the company, not the company that you want to work with, but you never know, that could be the best company ever.
Okay. Does having a past medical history, for example, cancer, but fully recovered now, lower the chances of someone getting employed by Izzati?
Is that having cancer lower the chance of being employed?
Yeah, past medical history.
As medical tests, I don't know for sure because I'm not in HR. I don't know for sure, but from what I know is so far is if your doctor, dependent doctor for that particular company, clears you from any issue, then you are good. Yeah, and then it depends on how the doctor that you have, a dependent doctor that doing your medical checkups. For the government, obviously, it's more strict in terms of medical checkups. They have their strict, but for the private sector, it's not really that strict. If your doctor clear you that you are cancer free, and then there shouldn't be any reason why you should not be hired. Of course, if you don't have any other problem, assuming that you are just purely based on health, then if you depend on clear on a medical checkup, then you're clear.
Does talking to an employer via a virtual career fair increase the chance to be recruited?
Is the same way like you do the face-to-face career fair. It depends on what kind of talking that you do. Normally how the career fair works, and in a face-to-face, I would imagine the virtual is the same. You have to sell yourself to them. As some of them just come in like HR comes in and say, I'm just here to collect your resume. That should not be the case. Yeah, if they come in for career fair because they have the KPI to meet, because they come into career fair with expenses and everything, they should bring somebody. Yeah, they should bring candidates in. Therefore, if you talk to them and then it's as if you already have a pre-screen interview, that is your best opportunity. If you use that opportunity to really sell yourself, and then it's more likely that HR will like you and then will call you for interview. Because the one that comes for virtual fair is not the hiring manager most of the time. Yeah, if you're lucky if you get to talk to a hiring manager, then he or she can decide immediately, can hire you upfront. That would be the best. But if it's HR, then it's just the same like any other system. You talk to HR even in real life. You talk to HR, and HR will give your resume to the hiring manager. Then the hiring manager will decide. If it's quiet means no, unfortunately. It is yes. If you sell yourself right, then you have a better chance.
All right. I've graduated in 2019 and recently completed my 1-year graduate training in the oil and gas industry. And currently I've been unemployed for about 3 months. Seek for your advice, the suitable range for expected salary to put in the resume. I'm a bit confused to put the range of expected salary as a fresh grad.
Dia punya
Normally ranges about 2 to 2.5K, or as an experienced one, which is about 3K and above. Thank you.
Okay, for me, my advice is don't put your expected salary in the resume. Unless if it's asking for, you write the cover letter. Tell them. Because only when you are called for interview, then you can reveal your cover letter. Your expected salary. It does not determine whether you're gonna get a job or not. So what my approach is always, I want you to have a chance to meet the hiring manager and sell yourself first. And then if they like you, then we talk about money. I don't want to be the salary is the blocking factor for you being rejected, even though you are good. But I think the range that you have is in 2 to 2.5 is quite good. If you have 1 year of experience, maybe you can throw in another 6-7% to it, 10% at the most. That should be still okay. And then I don't worry so much about that. I'm more worried about whether can you sell yourself to convince the hiring manager to hire you. Once he or she is convinced, and then a couple hundred will not be a problem. To give you a couple hundred more than their budget, even it should not be a problem.
Okay. All
But
right.
I don't put it into your resume yet. I mean, that's people have different ideas, but for me, no.
Okay, very interesting answer. So next question is from Hizami, Muhammad Hizami. Mr. Ishak, if retrenched when applying for jobs, should we ask the same salary as last job, or we allowed to demand or increase the amount? Or are we allowed to demand an increase of the amount? Yeah.
Okay, the culture in Malaysia is, am I still, yeah. Because the video is a little bit lagging now. The culture in Malaysia is you can never be paid, especially you youngsters. If you at my age, probably you got the lower pay. But if you stay young, normally you can keep your previous salary, yeah, your previous salary. If salary is a topic, they won't hire you. No matter how good you are, if they cannot afford you, they won't hire you. Then it's up to you whether you are willing to take the lower salary of their offer or not. Yeah, but a common practice, you can always ask more than what you had previously, because if they offer something less, you have to decide: can you survive without work? If you still can, you can reject the offer. If you cannot, you have no choice. You have to take the offer. But in normal practice, you can always get more than what you had before, depending on the budget of that company. If they can afford you, they honor you. If they cannot afford you, no matter how good you are, they won't. So that is a risk that you have to play. Yeah? You have risk you have to mitigate. Some people say, yeah, you have to insist because that's your value. Yes, you can insist, but if they don't want to hire you, you're going to be waiting for your next job longer. So it's not the issue of whether or not you can or cannot ask for more money. You can, but it's more like whether they can afford you or not. Are you within their budget? That issue there. If they can afford you, why not? 10%, 20% more, it's fine.
Okay. What is the most proper way or actually step-by-step instruction on how to do a door-to-door application?
Okay, this is something like you do a direct selling door-to-door, right? You just go knock on the door, go to that company. I think if you just drop, most of the cases from experience that I've seen, I've never done it myself. From experience that I've seen, I've done it when I was a student back then. I've done it. I heard people say if you go to door, normally you just leave the resume with the guard, and the guard will give it to HR. This one is as good as sending it through email. So you don't have to waste your time and go. But if you can get a chance to talk to HR, you go door to door and saying, "Can I talk to HR if there's any vacancy?" Then if you get a chance to do that, you can talk. Then just like direct selling, you have a chance to pitch to your customer. Whether they're going to buy or not, that's something else. That is already good enough, actually. If you get a chance to pitch to HR, you're already good enough. So you can insist to talk to HR. If they have a vacancy that fit your job, I'm sure they're more than happy to entertain you, because they don't have to do their job. They don't have to find it somewhere else. They don't have to go out and advertise. You come in and then you fit into the job is done. So, or you can, of course, you don't know the hiring manager. If you know from your research, you can talk to the hiring manager, get a phone number. If you cannot get access any phone number anywhere, and then you ask the security there, if you do know who the hiring manager is, get the phone number and then talk to them. That's another options.
Next one is, I see some job portals offer full-time and part-time professional jobs. What are the differences for these two in a professional setting? Also, salary-wise and time for a full-time and part-time, how do they differ? This is a question from Yao Wenjie to you.
The difference between a full-time and a part-time. Is that a question?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So the part-time is your hour. Full-time, you have to work at least 40 hours a week. And then you've got the full benefits, whatever the benefits may be, yeah? Medical, insurance, bonuses, allowances. So that is full-time. Part-time is less than 40 hours a week. 40 hours working hours, yeah, not including the not including the break. Yeah, if you look at around, some companies do it 7.5, some companies do it 8 hours, but you have to work 9 hours because you have, it depends on how long your break is. Normally you're 45 minutes, so you minus your 45 minutes. That's how number of hours that you stay in, and then normally your salary goes by the hour, not goes by the month. And then if you don't come, you may not get paid. Full-time, your monthly salary, of course, only in Malaysia we practice monthly salary. Yeah, in US they practice annual salary. Same in Europe, it's annual salary, and then they pay you on bi-weekly basis. Some companies pay you on a weekly basis, not month. But here we do month, and then you also, though you work part-time, you still get paid at the end of the month, not at the end of the day or at the end of the week, but at the end of the month. And then you may not get any other benefits there. You may, I'm saying you could also be, but whatever that you say in the contract that your part-time basis, that's what you get. Mostly you just get salary, you don't get anything. And then you only get paid when you come to work. If you don't come to work, you don't get
paid. Next question is from Hazira. Do I still have to send a thank you email to the hiring manager for a chance of digital assessment on a digital platform?
You don't have to, but it's good to do it. The philosophy behind the thank you notes is to make sure that they remember. Yeah, of course, during the interview you really have to make a memory. Yeah, to make sure that they remember you in a positive way, not in a negative way. And then if you make the positive impact to them, they remember who you are. And then later you send a thank you note for giving a chance. That is a courtesy. And then that indicates, that shows how nice you are, how good you are in person. And then that probably make a difference if you are neck to neck with the next candidate. Yeah. Other than that, I would say it's good to do a practice if you know who it is. Especially when doing the interview, normally they pass you the business card, the contact information. You can always send a thank you note. You won't take too much time. But of course, the decision factor is whether or not you get a job. It's still based on your performance, based on your fit for the job. But as I said, if there's two candidates very close, that could make a difference. There's no guarantee, but that's how it is.
So Alia has asked, would love to hear a little bit more on how you utilize LinkedIn for job hunting.
Okay, so that's the thing. On the LinkedIn, of course, other than job, I'm not talking about the job part. The job part is the same like any other, right? Any other job portal. You apply. I think I find out that LinkedIn is more responsive compared to JobStreet, some other portal. People who advertise in LinkedIn, they are more responsive. At least they respond to you. Yeah? At least for me, my experience, they always got a response. One thing. The second thing is on the feed. You have to be active in responding to somebody else's job advertisement. You post that you're really looking for a job. You follow job seeker hashtag or any hashtag that is relevant to that. And then then your activity in there. It's in the LinkedIn, how it works is if you just absorb like a sponge somebody else's post or comment, you don't do anything. To LinkedIn, you don't exist. Yeah? LinkedIn doesn't care about you. But you have to respond. You have to react. You have to comment on the job-related posts. Therefore, LinkedIn knows, oh, you are a job seeker. This is what you want to see. And then your feed will come with a lot more job vacancies coming from whoever posted. And then you continue commenting until you find the job that you want. And then LinkedIn will see you. And then at the same time, hiring manager and recruiters see you as well. Yeah, for me, I always got the offer from recruiters almost every day, offer me a job. So the recruiters will come and then will offer you a job, and then who knows, this is gonna be a good fit for you. But if you're not doing nothing, you just sit there and then reading my post. Thank you very much anyway. But nobody knows that you are there. So you really have to be active, really active, super active.
Okay, so what's the right way of following up after an interview without seeming pushy or desperate?
No, you just thank you for the opportunity. And then of course you don't push them, like you don't really write the note and saying that you really please give me a job, else I'm gonna kill you. But of course you don't say that, but your tone, sometimes the way you write, it sounds like that. Yeah. But just thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to showcase what I can offer, and then I'm looking forward to be part of your team. That's really enough. Don't write anything else.
All right, thank you. And then Mr. Ishak, during the online interview session, right?
Yeah.
Which direction our eyes should look at the camera or at the screen?
You have to look at the camera. This is difficult. Yeah, if you're not camera savvy like me myself also, I don't look at the camera most of the time. Because especially when I'm presenting, I look at the screen. I don't look at the camera. But if you have nothing to present, nothing to read, you have to look at the camera. You look at the camera, meaning you look at the eyes, because in the English world, I would say English world, honesty is looking eyes to eyes. Of course, in the Malay world, honesty is heart to heart. Yeah, it is very difficult to do. But if you talk to somebody, if you look in the eyes, it can show how honest you are, how sincere you are. But if you don't look in the eyes, in this case, look at the camera. Of course, you don't stare. You don't stare like you want to fight. But you really look in the eye that shows, your eye glows and look how honest you are. Then most likely you can win. You can make them melt. The same like you talk heart to heart in Malay. Yeah, depend on how you arrange your word, and then it touches the heart, then it melts. Same way here is it goes through eyes and eventually it goes to heart. And then if your heart melts, then you're good. It's the same like dating. Well, I have not been dating for a long time, but it's same like dating. Yeah, I don't know now if people do that anymore, but you really have to look at, talk heart to heart until the heart melts. Of course, the same thing. But this is a speed dating, right? I'm not sure whether you guys have done that.
So some dating advice there also.
Yeah.
So, and then what happens after the second or final stage online interview? The company did not get back to you. Should we follow up?
Yes. If they say we'll get back to you, if you hear they say we'll get back to you, and you can demand that. Yeah, 1 week. Give them 2 weeks, but 1 week, after 1 week, you go and do a follow up, and then the week after you do a follow up. If you don't hear from them for 2 weeks, probably you don't get a job. Probably, yeah. It's not guaranteed. Yeah, you don't get a job. If they are still considering you, they should be still responding, because they are only considering candidates. Normally, candidate that makes into the list, the company will take care of you. Yeah, any correspondent that you send, they respond to you. Any email that you send, they respond to you. If they don't like you, they ignore you. This is so unfortunate in Malaysia. This is how the thing works. Yeah, we are trying very hard to change this environment. Yeah, through LinkedIn. See how far can we get there. When can we get there? Hopefully soon. Yeah. Hopefully they make it illegal not to respond like in Europe and probably part of the US. But eventually they find a loophole, they give you the automated response, which just doesn't help you much. Yeah, after 2 weeks, and most likely you don't get a job, because if the job is really vacancy, is really urgent, and they will respond to you. No, during my time when I was doing the interviewing, I was expected to provide the result. If the interview is in the morning, I have to give the result in the afternoon. If the interview is in the afternoon, I have to give the result early morning tomorrow. Meaning within 24 hours, they should know already whether the hiring manager wants you or not. Unless the hiring manager is saying, hey, we wait for a couple more candidates, then we decide. Even so, that within 2 weeks, then should be able to decide already.
Okay, and then Mr. Ishak, could you share your presentation slides later once the session ends?
Yeah, I'll give you to Yasa and then see how it goes, right? How to share with them, I don't know.
Right, okay. So just on this part, for those of you who have actually sent a message earlier, you can actually ask for a recording of this, so you can actually watch it on YouTube. It will help you with all the questions that you might have missed. You can also watch. You can also connect with Mr. Ishak directly with his LinkedIn. We also gave you in the note his LinkedIn contact, right? So you can actually write to him if you want to reach out to him and ask further questions, more details, or set up a actual session with him, right? So okay, few more questions before we are going to finish. So if you have any last questions, don't forget to drop in here. A few questions is like, for those of you who are active in LinkedIn, right? Should you, if you're looking for a job, put up the sign open for opportunities? What do you think, Ishak?
I did put in open for opportunities, or open for work or something like that, the green banner. I put it for 6, 7, I think it's 6 months, something like that. But it didn't work, and then I took it out. I don't see the difference. First is if the HR or recruiters, if you expect the HR or recruiters to see you, that banner is not searchable. It's not searchable. It's better to have your searchable keywords in your about you, or in your headlines. Even if you put, last time they used, we have this hashtag ONO or something like that. Yeah, but that one also doesn't work. Yeah, somehow LinkedIn doesn't like it, or I don't know why it doesn't work. So to be on the safe side is just make sure that you are available either on the header or in about you, that telling you that you're really looking for opportunity. Otherwise, to me, it doesn't work. Right now, you can see that people don't use it anymore because somehow LinkedIn fails on that, which is it should help, but it doesn't help.
Right. So what can someone who's looking for a job, what can they write in the header?
You can write your expertise in your header. What is your expertise if you're looking for a job? Yeah, of course, don't write very long, but like keywords that your expertise that they're looking for. Then the rest you can elaborate in your about section about you. Then you can write a lot more there. But a few words of the keywords of your expertise, that should be the good one, because that's the one they when they do the search, somebody is looking for you, do a search, and then that will appear. And they catch that.
Should you mention in the headline that you are open for an opportunity?
No, that specific keyword doesn't work. Yeah, they have two different ways of in the about section. Yes, the about section you can put that, or you can write your post. A post is very effective, but of course, when you write your post, don't write in the same way like a couple hundred people writing it. Yeah, you have to find a creative way, how to catch the reader. That's where your copywriting skill comes in, and then you write without indicating that you're so desperate to get a job, but you have a message that you are looking for a job, and that's where the copywriting comes in. Yeah, so you write in such a way that the same like I've been writing that I'm offering this service. I don't really write directly, but people know from that, and people know I'm offering the service. So you can do the same thing, but of course don't copy any other the way you write, but you have to be right in the how do you write in uniquely you. I mean, don't ask me whether what if you are the one who looking for a job, how would you write it? And then of course you will copy mine. I don't want to do that. But you have to have your own way in how to write it.
Right. If not, everybody will be Ishak, right?
Yeah, everybody will write the same way, the same mean, and become another couple hundreds of the same people. Then it doesn't help.
Okay. So I think it was a superb session. Very nice. A lot of good questions. Do you all, any one of you, have any last questions before we wrap it up? Right. Again, for those of you who want a recording, just write in. We have given out the contact, the email to write into. We have also given our company's name. Ishak's LinkedIn profile is written up here in the notes also. Please feel free to connect with him directly if you wish to. Any last questions before we finish, ladies and gentlemen? All right. So with that, okay, yeah, there's a question by Sophia. Sophia, do you have any advice for those who didn't know what they wanted to pursue for their career? All right. Okay, this is a good question.
Yeah, if you go to the buffet table, you don't know what you eat, what you want to eat. How can I advise? Right?
Okay.
You have to get to know, let's say for example you go to the buffet table, you don't know what this, let's say the buffet is very strange, right? You go to some strange food that you have no idea about, and then normally you call the chef, right? Or you call somebody, you say, can you explain to me what this thing is? Who knows, you may like it. Then in your case, you have to to get somebody to explain to you what what the options are, and then what are the future of that options. And then with that, then hopefully you have some idea, or at least have some information to really go further and then dig deeper, and then you're gonna fall in love with that particular position, for example. But let's say, for example, going back to dating again, if you're not interested in getting married with anybody, then don't date.
Oh, that's
wasting
a good
of
one.
time of everybody. Yeah, so you have to know what kind of girl, kind of guy you're looking for first. That's easier.
That's not as easy.
Easier, but not as easy,
Not
obviously.
as
Yeah, the
easy.
same like job hunting. It's easier, but it's not as easy.
Okay, that's a good analogy there. All right, so is it okay? So before we finish, right? So don't forget, we're going to have a group photo session where we're going to just quickly just turn on the your computer for a short while, right? So let's just answer the last one or two questions, and then we'll take a short photo. Just remember that, right? All right. So the question. Thank you, No Sophia. Then a question by Dor Wahida. Is it a bad impression to a new hiring manager if the applicant were being retrenched before?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sorry, is it a bad impression to a hiring manager if the applicant were was being retrenched before?
No. I mean, if I was the hiring manager, I'm okay with that, because we know, especially at this time, we do know that the situation is not good. Yeah, you are being retrenched does not mean you are bad guys. It does not mean that you did not perform, unless the hiring manager do the background check and then contact your previous manager saying how are you doing, and then you are being retrenched because of the performance or anything like that. That would be an issue. But no, you don't have to worry about that, because you got retrenched because of whatever. But it also depends on how long have you been in that company. If it's just for the past 3 months or 4 months, then first in, first out, or last in, first out, that is just simply because, you know, it's just the way it is. It's not, as long as it doesn't tell anything about your performance and your behavior, then you should be clean. You don't have to worry about that.
Any other questions? Okay, so shall we just take a quick snapshot? Brother Ishak, thank you so much. Loved all your answers. It was a very enlightening session. Let's just take a 1 minute to take a quick picture. Can we just turn on your camera for a short while? Okay. Pinjamlah muka sikit, no problem kan? All right, thanks.
This is the marketing, you know, this post, I hope Biasa will post later, that everybody in the LinkedIn community knows that you're coming, and then you are well versed in how to get a job. Then hopefully somebody will approach you to offer you a job, hopefully. So turn on your camera.
Ishak, you said it very well, man. All right. Okay, Miss Tina, are you ready? Okay, are you guys all okay? Okay, taken. Just a minute, yeah. Our team is just going to take a snapshot. Boleh? Tina, done? Okay, Nana, taken already? All right, so thank you very much, team. I hope you all enjoyed the session so much. And again, you know, you can just unmute for a while if you want to just say thank you very much to Mr. Ishak, who has spent his time here today. You can just say it a little bit in the chat. If you want to just say it verbally, through your voice.
So thank you for your attention. Thank you for having me. And then if you need to have a discussion, follow-up discussions, you can find me in LinkedIn.
He's available in LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ishak.
Thank you, Mr. Ishak.
So hope you guys had a good time. Yeah, I see a lot of thank yous in the chat. Brother Ishak, you can have a look at the chat for all the thank yous that are pouring in.
Yep.
Okay, again, you all have seen his contact details. We have posted earlier. We'll post it again.
Somebody say, hope to work with you one day. I'm already retired. So thank you again for coming, everybody. It's been such a fun session. Ishak, we are supposed to do a live session a long time ago, but now we really did one, right? Yeah.
This one, I think, is a very good one, a very good session.
This could have been a live session.
Yeah. And the recording will be available. Okay, we send you the link. Oh yeah, selamat berpuasa ya, everyone. Selamat berbuka puasa nanti.
Yeah.
Ishak,
Yes.
I think if you want to log out first,
Okay.
you can log out. You can go ahead. Thank you again very much for your
Thank
session.
you.
Really appreciated it.
Thank you.
I've sent a short WhatsApp to your phone lah.
Yeah.
All right. So thank
All
you,
right.
everyone. We'll be leaving now.
Hi, Farhana. Are you there? You were looking for me?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So how can I help you, Farhana?
Actually, I have a personal question. So can we speak personally?
Yeah, can. Or maybe you can get on a call with me.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right. Let me just drop you my number. 357. All right. So I've already sent you my number. You can just drop me a call lah.
Okay, can I call you now?
Yeah, can.
Okay, all right. See you.
All right. See you then.